Neil, you know you're already through to the knockout stages. How do you approach tomorrow night's game, given that winning the group is still there for you?
Well, I think that's the main motivation, and I think the motivation to try and get a 100% record in the home games in the group is also an added incentive. We know if we can win the group, it may give you a favourable draw in the second half of the season, and we also know that we've only made 10 points in a European group before, and this is an opportunity to better that. So up until now it's been a great campaign, but we must keep our focus and keep our momentum going, not just for Europe but for domestic duties as well.
When the draw was made, is it a position that you thought you would be in with 2 games to go?
No, obviously you're looking at the group, and Lazio, Rennes, who at the start of the campaign, start of the season, were playing very well. They'd beaten PSG, and then we knew the difficulties that Cluj could give us as well, having played them in the Champions League qualifier. So to be in this position is very satisfying, and we're not going to relax on it. We are playing well, and when players are playing well, they want to keep playing. So to have a big crowd here tomorrow night, that's all the motivation the players need, really.
The club had decided to close part of the ground for tomorrow night's match. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's not ideal, but in terms of, we have to think of the health and safety of the supporters, and we also have to follow the rules and regulations of UEFA and the competition. So it's a club decision. I'm not going to dwell on it. We will miss those fans because they bring so much to the stadium, and we're hoping that they'll come back pretty soon.
Neil, I know you said you don't want to dwell on it, but
right.
Peter Lawwell said
so I've answered the question, so I'm not talking about it again.
Is it enough of a deterrent, no, Neil, now? Do you think this will be the end of it?
Just answer the question, Luke. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm here to talk about a Europa League match. The club have made the decision, and we feel it's the right decision. It's a short-term, hopefully, issue, and we want the fans back in, but they have to understand that there are rules and regulations that the club have to adhere to. And I don't want to be here talking about negativity surrounding anything to do with the club at the minute, when we're in a really good place and we're very excited about a big European night.
Do you expect more from Rennes, Neil, given, I know you played them in the friendly and then on match day 1, but have you been surprised that they haven't put in more of a challenge?
Yeah, like I said, they started the season very well. Been a little bit inconsistent of late. However, they can approach the game 2 ways. They can come here and play with freedom. The manager may come, he has sort of been chopping and changing the team quite a bit. He's been pretty, in the majority of the games of late, sticking to the one formation, but certainly changing the personnel. So it's difficult to read, what sort of team he'll put out and what sort of mindset that Rennes will be in. We can only focus on that a little bit and basically concentrate on what we want to get out of the game, and that's certainly the win, and to keep moving forward in the right direction.
Neil, if results go your way tomorrow along with a win, you can seal that top spot in the group, but at this stage of a competition and moving into the knockout stages, I guess they're all going to be tough games, aren't they? Does that make a huge difference, maybe as big a difference as it did years and years ago? I
don't know. Well, what you do is if you win the group, you can avoid the Champions League third place teams that are coming into the competition, who it could be anybody really, the way the Champions League's going this year. So ideally, in the last 32, you'd like to avoid that and maybe build some momentum going into the competition for the second half of the season. It would be great if we could beat 10 points and top the group for the first time, in the last 20 years of the group stages in European football. So that would be a nice feather in another sort of milestone that this group has overcame, and that's a big incentive. The other incentive is it's a glamour game. There's no pressure on us, but we will ask the players to perform at the level that we know they're capable of, and we'll get a great support tomorrow night, and it should be a game to enjoy rather than endure.
Neil, how much more enjoyable is it for you going into a European game that's not a must-win game?
Yeah, it's sort of weird, not really been in this position before, but we're still driven. I don't want them to come off it at the minute, Ronnie. I want them to stay on the edge and on the level that they've been playing at for the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks. So it's important we're prepared well. We had a great win at the weekend to kick off this sort of block of games and we go into the game with confidence, but not overconfidence or complacency. Because as I say, you don't know. Rennes are dangerous. They've got good pace in the team. They counter attack well, and if they come and play with the freedom, then we could be in for a difficult night. So we have to, be ready for that.
Neil, you spoke before about restoring the club's reputation in Europe. How big a motivating factor is that in terms of finishing top of the group, which I don't think the club have done before, top the European group, since kind of modern European football stages has come about?
It's important, and you could see the scenes, in Rome when we got that great result and performance, what it means to the supporters and what it means to the players. So that is what they've had a taste of. So it's important we keep trying to, compound that, within the group and going forward into the new year. We're not taking anything for granted. Yes, we've qualified, but it would be great to top the group for the first time, and that would give the whole campaign the icing on the cake. So we're not going out there tomorrow to fulfil a fixture. We're at home. It's important to protect our home record against a very dangerous opponent.
Johnny Hayes available?
No. I think we're getting the scan results today, so tomorrow's probably too soon for him, really. Mikey Johnson's available, so he's come back into training. So we're okay, in terms of maybe the one recognised left back we have at the minute for this game would be Greg, but he's ready to play. And he did very well when he came on Saturday, so we've no issues with starting him at all.
Neil, can I just ask you about something that was mentioned this morning at the AGM that Celtic held, which was when there was a question asked about transfer business and things like that, you said you may look in January towards strengthening Celtic's front line. Mm-hmm. Can I ask, is that just something that's on your radar or something that's maybe an active thought process? Where are you at with that?
Probably the latter, the active thought process. I think if you're going well and you're in a position of strength, then it's always good to look to improve. I think in terms of midfield and wide men, we're well covered. We've done good business defensively, with the players we've brought in, and goalkeeping area we're really strong as well. So maybe just looking at that forward line, maybe to just strengthen that. If, for example, the eventuality that we're out with Bayo or something happens with Hudson and at least they're getting up to speed, and maybe having another one in there might help.
Neil, you said you were well covered in midfield. Does that mean there won't be any move for Victor Wanyama in January?
No.
Is it?
I don't know where the speculation is coming from, and that's basically what it is at the minute, speculation. So if a player like Wanyama was to become available, that's the first thing we have to ask, because there's a new manager in Spurs and we don't know how Jose Mourinho would see Victor's role in the club. And two, there's an affordability. Three, does the player want to come? We have not looked at any of that, so this is all just speculation surrounding Victor at the minute. And I'm very well stocked in midfield, and my midfield is performing superbly at the minute.
Neil, how do you as a manager approach the hectic festive schedule? There's games every 3 days. Do you like it? Do you loathe it? Do you have to plan ahead with all the games clogged together, or do you just take it one game at a time?
I think in essence, theoretically you like to plan ahead, but it doesn't work that way. So you have to take it one game at a time, and you look at some of the players that you've got coming back into the squad as well, where they can figure and maybe help out the players who've been playing. So Mackie, for example, coming back in will be a big plus for us. Elyounoussi not a million miles away from being back in the squad as well, as is Bolingoli. But at the minute you're just looking at it game by game. So we're looking at Rennes tomorrow night with a 2-day window to Ross County. I can't think about Ross County. You'll just have to see how we go tomorrow night, how we play, hopefully get a positive result and injury free, and then take it from there. I think it's always good to try and plan ahead, but when the games are so concertinaed like this at the minute, it's very difficult to do that. You can do it sort of with individuals rather than looking at the whole 11 as a whole. In terms of, so for this game, we spoke to Ncham before the game on Saturday, said, look, you're going to be on the bench, but you will start on Thursday. So you can do it maybe now and again with the odd individual, but as a group as a whole, it's difficult to go, right, this team's playing on Sunday, and you can do it with the odd individual here and there, because we're in a department where you're well stocked and it's good to rotate. So when Cham's playing.
Neil,
Donc Encham joue indirectement, vous avez pu deviner.
Neil, how satisfying has it been for you to install the feel-good factor that's around the club at the moment? And do you feel that the positive energy created by it can be an important factor in competing in 4 competitions?
Absolutely. You know, really, you know, pleased with the way things are going. I know it's early, but our form since, you know, the beginning of the years or the beginning of the season's been superb. I did feel there was a disconnect. Maybe it was just me feeling that, you know, from where I was standing. And obviously there was a huge hole left when Brendan left, and a lot of agitation around the place, a lot of anger, a lot of sort of disengagement, and a lot of doubts obviously about my role in that as well, you know, coming forward. So slowly but surely I think we've built up a trust again with the fan base, and I hope they're excited to think about the team and enjoying what the team is doing, and the results speak for themselves. But it's not all down to me obviously, but I am delighted with the way things have gone so far.
Would it be fair to say that you're expecting to maybe register Frimpong for the next round of the Europa League? And
yeah.
If so, are you excited to see what he can do in Europe?
I'm just excited about him, full stop, you know. Not, again, don't want to build him up into this great player already, but he's been brilliant, you know, really enjoying his style of play. I think he integrates into the team really well in the way we want to play, and it's been sort of really quickly his progression, a lot quicker than what we expected. But when we watched him in training, we just felt we couldn't hold him back, you know, and could he transform that, you know, training displays into matches, and he's done that with abundance. So, you know, in terms of going into the new year, he will definitely be registered for the Europa games, and I think his style of play might suit European football as well.